Hey, welcome back to the Oh Grow Up podcast. With me today, you can find our guest on Instagram, the at Come and Giggle podcast, and her own individual Instagram at Nickey Huntsman. She has 182 million views on everybody's favorite hub. She occasionally gets under the top 200, which is insane. She is going to be at the Tits and Giggles comedy show at La Burleby, December 15th. Give it up for Nickey Huntsman. That took me through, 3 tries there?
It did.
You got me nervous here, Nickey. Holy shit.
Third
Welcome
time's
to
the
the
charm.
podcast. I am super looking forward to this because we are incorporating 3 different things: stand-up comedy, podcasting, and porn. So
Yeah,
let's get
all
it
of the
started.
best things.
Exactly.
That's actually how my podcast got its name, because my 2 favorite things in life are orgasms and laughter.
Dude.
So
If you
Come and
incorporate them
Giggle,
together, that'd be
and
fantastic.
it's a porn star who does stand-up comedy and has a podcast. I think it fits
So
really
excited.
well.
This is going to be amazing. I feel like our 2 themes, that's basically how I approached you. It was like, hey, I think your theme, Come and Giggle, Oh Grow Up, like just look at my stupid like icon.
Hey, it fits.
It's going to be fantastic. Is there anything else we want to promote before we get started with like the interview process here?
I guess if you guys want to check out my AI, there's Nickey AI, and I also do video game voiceover work. So Retro Knockout is already out on Steam and playable, and next year, 2025, Mystery Kink is coming out.
And what's Mystery Kink specifically?
So it's the next game in the series, because there's a series of games. But
sure.
Retro Knockout, the first game, was a fighting game. It had different art style, and it was a parody of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. And it was a
shit.
comedy, porn, fighting game, and I was a playable, fightable character.
Whoa. You got me want to look up these
Yeah.
screenshots now. What's
So-
the name of this?
Retro Knockout,
Retro Knockout.
Vanilla Beast.
Vanilla Beast.
Yep, gaming company.
Let's see what we got here.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Nickey Huntsman.
Yep. And that's before I had my blonde hair, because I'm blonde at the moment, but that's back when I was a brunette, so my character has my old hairstyle.
That is badass.
Yeah. And Mystery Kink is more of a Leisure Suit Larry style gameplay.
Not so many people have heard of that, but I have.
I'm showing my age right now, guys. I know I have a baby face, but yeah.
Okay, first things first. We're gonna intertwine all of these things together. Where were you born and where did you grow up?
Colorado Springs, Colorado. I was
Nice.
born and raised here, and then I ended up living in Los Angeles for 3 years to build up my career, and then I moved back.
Oh shit. In high school, were you interested in doing stand-up comedy at that point? Like, I'm trying to figure out where that seed starts to grow.
So what's funny is when I was a kid, I used to watch Comedy Central and a lot of stand-up shows with my dad,
Fist bump.
and I was a huge fan of The Man Show, and I always watched that growing up. But I was the one kid telling jokes like on the playground and stuff, but I never really thought about being a stand-up comedian as an adult. I just thought about it as a small child. When I was an itty-bitty kid, I would be like, I'm a comedian when I was like 7 or 8, just joking around.
Who was inspiring you at that point?
Back then, when I used to watch stand-up on the TV,
So
probably
7, 8.
I used to watch a lot of things. Like my dad had Rodney Dangerfield movies that we would watch, and I would also watch Adam Carolla a lot when I was little, Rob Schneider, Pauly Shore.
Okay.
So I had those ones that I looked up to.
The one thing I might have over your career.
Also Dave Chappelle,
Hell
because
yeah.
I watched the Chappelle Show a lot.
Was that early 2000s?
Yeah, I was a
okay.
small child. I was too young to be watching it, but I was watching it when it was on TV.
It was still Comedy Central. It was censored where it
Yeah.
needed to be. So I've actually performed at Dangerfield's Comedy Club before COVID
That's
closed.
so cool.
Yeah, I actually have their menu. It used to be part of my background, but if you want to look at their menu, it's so fucking
I would love
badass.
to look at that. That's really cool.
So one souvenir. So obviously we didn't know COVID was going to hit when I went in like 2018. But I was like, I'm going to take the souvenir because I don't know where my comedy career is going. I'm glad I did that because I don't know if that's ever going to grow open back up. So
That's good that you took it then.
Yeah.
Little piece of history.
Stolen shits. That's a really interesting comedy club to be in, especially if you ever watch like The Joker, the movie. They actually
Yeah.
recorded in the real Dangerfields.
I didn't know that.
It was fucking amazing.
That sounds incredible.
Okay, so wow, really young there. That's probably around the time I was doing that too. Was
Yeah,
interested in
so-
stand-up comedy. Was
yeah.
elementary school.
I liked
mid-elementary
it
school.
back then though, and then as an adult, I actually fell into it because I was seeing a comic and he kind of ghosted me for a little bit, and I got
We're
really
flaky people.
I got really, really drunk and sad. And then I saw that he was posting that he was looking for people to audition for opening for him,
Oh shit.
like an open for me type of competition.
Mhm.
So me being the type of person I am, I decided to get drunk, go to open mics and record my shitty open mics and submit.
Open mic submittals.
And
That's brave.
I submitted it to him, and it was me basically talking shit about him without using his name and talking about the ghosting and stuff. I have it on my YouTube, my little Disneyland
Was he picking up on
skit.
that? Did he send it back like, hey, what the fuck? Or
He didn't say what the fuck. He showed it to his buddy though, and his buddy, who's also another comedian, was talking about like the Disneyland jokes and about his friend having a Disneyland dick and stuff. Because I compared it to Splash Mountain making me squirt.
hell
And
yeah.
yeah, I did compare that, and I talked about ghosting and the haunted mansion and other things. Yeah. That shitty open mic, I posted it to my YouTube. I'm never taking it down. I don't
Hell
care.
yeah.
It was one of my first open mics.
It was the mic here in Springs.
3E's.
Your first open mic was 3E's.
Yeah.
Holy
I started
shit.
going to 3E's and getting up there and doing it, but I did it partially to submit to that, partially to vent, and also because I didn't know back in the day when I was so brand new, I did not know that open mics were how you audition to do stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
I just thought that it was kind of like karaoke. You go up and get drunk and have fun.
I wish.
So I went up there and I was just drunkenly shit talking and improving. And my first couple of times doing open mics, it was improv. It wasn't anything scripted or planned.
That's still pretty ballsy though.
Yeah, I
know
was just
the first
drunk
time
and
I
shit
ever
talking.
did stand up, I wrote stuff for like a year. Because I'm like, I know I'm going to fuck this. So kind of like the intro that we just tried doing 3 times. I was like, oh my God, I'm like overthinking this shit
Oh
so
yeah,
much.
no, I
so.
didn't do any writing when I first started. And then after I realized, oh, this is how you audition and this is how you get gigs,
Mhm.
that's when I started to buy books on writing. And that's when I took a couple of classes.
I did see, I think it was the John Brown podcast. You bought out all your books there. I have a book that you forgot, but it's like the Bible, literally the Bible of.
I've heard of the Comedy Bible. I
Yeah.
haven't bought that one.
It's so she actually released it, I think last year, the year before.
Were there major changes or just minor?
Massive. So the first one was written probably around the time I was born, like mid 1980s. It talks about
Okay.
recording your VHS tapes, sending it to like all the clubs. Basically, a different approach to stand up because they said
Mhm.
in the 80s nobody wants to hear stories, where nowadays like everybody wants to hear your background and like how you're intertwining that into comedy. So
Yeah.
she completely rewrote it. The writing process now includes like if you have a laptop, cool. This is how you should like save all of your like your file trees and everything. Like it's really in depth.
I'll
now,
have to check
so
that out for sure.
It's worth a read.
I'd have to say out of all of my books, like my 2 best ones were probably How to Fail at Stand-Up Comedy and
I
then the
saw that.
Comedy Store one
The
from
one
Sandy
I
Seashore. That one was good.
need. Who wrote that?
Sandy Seashore.
Did she?
Yeah, Pauly Shore's sister.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah,
so
'cause
they
she
keep
used to
everything right
teach
there in the family.
things.
Huh?
Yeah, they did.
That's awesome. The one book that it's usually yellow has the banana like on the front of
I
it.
have that one.
I've tried reading that numerous
so
times.
boring.
It's not just boring. It seems like they show you how to take your first step, and then they show you like Jedi level comedy, where it's like, well, hold up, you went from this really basic
it skips,
concept
and
to
it doesn't have a lot of meat in between.
yeah, it doesn't show you how to
explain.
build it. It just shows you like here's the beginning of the process and here's the completed process. Like, hold up, I need to figure out how to get between point A and point B here. So, okay, so wow,
Yeah.
we're jumping around in there. So we said in school you were the class clown. Or
Yeah, when I was a kid. It's because I was nerdy, and I feel like I was like overcompensating because when I moved, like I was really popular and did really well with making friends at my first elementary school, and then my mom moved me, and then kids were kind of mean to me, and I felt very awkward and out of place.
I know that.
So I became like class clown, and then I also was the one that was like singing and dancing in the talent
Oh
shows,
shit.
and I was the one that was kind of like a little bit more secluded to myself and then overachieving. I was in the gifted and talented program, and I was in choir, and doing all of that
awesome.
stuff and all of the little theater things.
How often were these moves? You said there was 2 moves while you're in school, or?
So my mom moved me from one neighborhood to another when I was little because she moved out of my grandpa's house and got her own place.
Okay.
And then when I was in junior high, she got a different place and then
Okay.
moved me back to the prior district where the kids had been nice to me, and then they were nice to me again.
Good.
But yeah, when I was in the other district, the in-between one from 3rd grade until 7th grade, I had people like bullying me, putting me down
Okay.
regularly, and people were just kind of mean. So I was the kid that was inside during recess reading books.
That was an option?
Yeah. No, I would go to the school library or I would stay inside with the teachers.
I wish that I
would
knew
read
that was an
books.
option. Holy fuck.
I would do that instead of playing with kids at recess, and I'd be practicing things for like the talent show and doing my theater kid crap and
I'm liking this.
my choir stuff. I was a nerd.
That had to have been difficult in middle school. Is one of the reasons why I
I
ended up
hated
doing
7th grade, but I
Yeah.
will say 8th grade when we moved again back to the nice kids school area.
And those
like,
were kids that
was
remembered
better.
you.
They
from-
remembered me and they liked
so
me.
lucky. Oh my God.
They remembered me, they liked me, and also that was around the time when I started to get a little bit prettier, and that helped. Once I started
Especially when
to
those
develop and
testosterone
stuff.
and all that stuff
yeah.
starts flowing. Yeah.
Everybody's like, "Oh, you're beautiful. Let me be nice to you." It helps, but
it is so
I still had
weird.
ugly duckling syndrome because, you know, like
Ooh.
the years where I was awkward, where I was in braces, had my glasses, I was tall and lanky, and then I gained a bunch of weight and stuff because I was depressed and overeating, and my hormones kicked in. I went from being 80 pounds to 150 in 1 year.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so I was big when I was in 7th grade.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I imagine the kids were just fucking ruthless.
They
at
were
that
really
point.
mean, and then I lost a little bit of weight right before 8th grade started, and I started to hit puberty and my braces came off, and then people started to be nice to me.
Jesus.
And I switched schools to the nicer kids school, so
It is really fortunate that you did that. Because of all the shit that's been going on in my life, I've actually started doing research on like what fucks up kids the most. A move is what fucks up kids the most. Number 2 on that list is insane. For me, I moved every 4 years my entire life because being a military kid, and unfortunately, I never went back to friendly territory. So like, I'm jealous of you in middle school moving back to somewhere where you actually felt welcome. That's
So I'm a
fucking amazing.
military kid too, but my dad got
Really?
out before I was born, so thankfully that didn't factor into anything. I just moved around the Springs. I
Okay.
didn't have to leave
Which
the
branch?
state. My dad was Air Force.
Oh.
My dad did flight line mechanic stuff, and then my
Oh, you were
grandpa
lucky
was
you
a
got
fighter
out.
pilot.
Mechanics. I have not met a happy mechanic yet in the Air Force.
Yeah, my dad was a flight line mechanic,
Oof.
and my dad was in the Air Force during Vietnam because my
Oh,
dad's
he's
on the
an
older
older
side.
guy. Holy shit.
Yeah, my
Okay.
dad's 70.
Whoa. All right, doing the math on that one.
He was
Holy
born
shit.
in 54.
Okay. Oh, so actually, yeah, my dad's 3 years younger than yours. 57 for my dad. So
Okay, so
20 years Army. So
yeah.
terrible. Okay, so we got a little bit of the comedy seed there. It's going to be weird asking this, but was adult entertainment in there as well? Like, when did that come into?
I started doing that when I was 19.
I was saying, did you know as a kid before you were able to do that? Like, maybe I'll be interested in that too?
I
or-
never thought about pornography, but I did think about doing Playboy type stuff. I
Okay.
really wanted to be a playmate because I looked up to Anna Nicole Smith and Marilyn Monroe when I was little, and I
Nice.
thought they were gorgeous, and I wanted to be pretty like them, and I wanted to do that stuff. I
So I
definitely
usually
thought about
ask-
doing nude modeling.
Okay.
I was thinking about that from a very young age.
Gotcha. It's just trying to figure out where those seeds are being grown. I usually
Yeah.
ask comics the first time around who would be your Mount Rushmore of comics, but I'm going to ask that of adult entertainment first, and then we'll get to
Of adult entertainment.
Yeah, so you said,
oh my gosh.
we said Marilyn Monroe.
Anna Nicole Smith.
Anna Nicole Smith.
Absolutely. I
Okay.
think she's gorgeous. Are we talking about just older ones or also newer ones too?
So the weird thing with a Mount Rushmore is like, okay, who do you think affected whatever like branch they're in? So like for comedy, Dangerfield would definitely be
Mhm.
on my Mount Rushmore because not only was he an amazing stand-up comic, if you don't have him, you don't have the 90s sitcom boom. You don't meet Tim Allen. You don't meet Roseanne. You don't know who Andrew Dice Clay is. So that's a weird thing with the Mount Rushmores. You can be like, oh, I think these are the 4 best of today. But but you also gotta give homage to like who built whatever industry we're
Okay,
talking
so
about.
if we're talking about ones that have built things and we're talking about both old mixed with and new, well, of course, we got those two, Marilyn and Anna Nicole Smith. Jewel Denial, I'd have to say she's one of the ones that I would consider to be pivotal in the industry. And then Riley Reid, definitely out of the more recent ones, she's pivotal. I'm like...
She pivots? Is that what?
You know what I mean.
She's a spinner.
She's important.
Yeah.
She's
100%.
a huge one for the industry. And also Angela White. Angela White.
I know that name. So, okay, cool. Those would be... So your Mount Rushmore has 5. Okay.
Yeah, I gave it an extra one. That's okay.
With Riley Reid, what would it be that would keep her up there? Obviously, she has an enormous library, but is she doing stuff behind the scenes that's really helping out the industry? Like,
I mean, she's done a lot of different things over the years that are a little bit more pivotal or like impactful.
There we go.
Impactful. There we go. So one of the most impactful things that she's done, she started her own adult clothing line.
Nice.
And stuff 18 plus. So she went from doing adult to also doing fashion design. Okay. Which I think is pretty huge and monumental because it shows that adult film stars can do a little bit more than just perform.
Yeah.
I'd have to say that's a big thing that she's done.
I like this modern era of our culture is, that used to be the deep, dark, dirty secret of the world. Now it's like, hey, cool. Like we have people in the adult industry doing DJ work in Vegas. We have people doing like legit directing. It's so cool. And
they're expanding and they're actually doing more.
And I like that our culture's not trying to shove you guys back into the corner. It's like, no. Like we're all enjoying this,
Yeah. I mean, Riley's also stood up for the fact that, hey, like her stuff would constantly get shut down, like the Let Riley Live on social media. And she's one of the bigger names that pointed out, hey, we're dealing with discrimination. Our shit's getting closed and messed with. And this is our income. And this is like messing with our lives and our livelihood when we have to constantly start over again. So I feel like she represents us on a bigger scale, and I think it's important that she is who she is and how she is.
It's funny that you mentioned that. Is I was trying to get in contact with you originally through Instagram. Like shit, the link is dead. Had to go through another means. It was like, hey, just heads up, your Instagram might have a jacked up link. Like, yep, that's just the algorithm or the sensors like fucking with your ability to connect with people.
Yeah, because it gave me that weird thing like I couldn't message people for 3 days. But I'm not the only one, so I'm thinking that this might be just them switching over their softwares because several of my friends posted about dealing with the same issue within a week, and they weren't all adult entertainers. One of them was Tobuscus, who's a huge comedian and YouTuber. My friend Toby Turner, he messaged me. He was like, it says I broke community guidelines and I can't message you on Instagram.
That makes no sense.
So I thought that was funny. He was trying to send me a reel or something, and he said that Instagram wouldn't let him message for 3 days. I was like, I got that message a couple of weeks ago.
What's good though is I think you have your link tree in your profile.
Yes.
So you at least get people over to that. So that's insane. Yeah. How many messages are you dealing with on a daily basis? Because
I get thousands of messages daily, which is why I'm like, I will only respond if you're on my paid things or if we have mutuals or if it's business related. Yeah. Like if it's some random person that's like, hi, I love you. Hello. Here's an eggplant picture. Like, no. You can go to the links and you can pay if you want that. If you want to talk to me one-on-one about that stuff, like we can, but you're going to have to pay. I'm not going to do that for free with thousands of randos daily.
That was the fun thing, trying to get in contact with you. Is originally you came on my radar. I think you were in Luso's feed or whatever with like Instagram. I
love Luso. She's such a sweetheart.
Amazing. Absolutely love talking to her. I was like, okay, cool. Some like random friend. And then I saw, I think it was with Taylor Duggar. And I'm like, okay, who's this chick? Because at one point, I was linking you with Luso's OnlyFans. I'm like, okay. But then I saw you linked with a stand-up comedian. I'm like, I got to figure out who this chick is. When I approached you, I was like, okay, I got to make sure that I don't fall in with that group of people where it's like, all right, some random
When you
horn
mentioned
dog.
that you knew people, I was like, oh, okay, you're cool. Here's my personal info.
And that was so weird. Within 2 messages, I had a porn star's phone number. I was like, what the fuck? Is it really this easy?
We have mutual friends. The thing
Yeah.
is, it's easy if you can name legitimate people and I can like look at your shit or
Yeah.
whatever and verify it. Then I'm like, oh.
And people that have been in the studio. Like, yes, it's
Yeah.
in my basement, but it's above board. Not going to have like the Dexter setup when you get behind the curtains.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. So it's so interesting having this conversation though. I have so many goddamn questions. So you said 19's when you started in the
Adult film industry.
adult film industry.
So,
was that
I was going through my divorce at the time from my high school sweetheart, my
was this
daughter's
little
father.
revenge?
No, it was more or less, I was on Model Mayhem back in the day,
Mhm.
which I think still exists, but it's not as big of a tool as it used to be.
Okay.
Model Mayhem, for anyone who doesn't know, back in the day, it was kind of like MySpace or Facebook for creators, and it's where you could meet photographers, videographers, models, and you could write reviews on people on the public feed and share your portfolio and share
Nice.
whether things were legit or not. But I was working at Hooters and going through a divorce and trying to take care of my baby at the same time, and I was about to start college for nursing at PPCC,
Mhm.
and I had my grandma dying from cancer and a lot of other shit on my plate all at once. And then I had porn talent scouts reaching out to me being like, hey, do you want to come to Florida and shoot? Like, we'll pay for your testing, pay for you to stay at the Hilton, and you'll make $1,000 a day.
Whoa.
And I was 19. You have to think $1,000 a day back in the day. That was 2012.
Do you
2012,
think-
$1,000 a day just to do girl. I wasn't even doing boy-girl at the time.
Dude.
So I was getting $1,000 a day paid same
So you
day.
took some of those offers or
I took them. That's how I got in.
okay.
I went and did it, and then I ended up liking it, and I've been in and out of the industry over the years. I've gone in and out.
When it comes to that, I've seen documentaries of specifically the Florida scene where it's almost like
Mhm.
sweatshop work, where it's like, come down here and we're just gonna fucking run the camera until
It
you
depends
quit.
on who you're working for
Okay.
and who you're working with. I was doing lesbian girl stuff. I got it
Okay.
pretty easy when I first started.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it was still kind of hard because it was hardcore stuff too. Like, one of my first scenes that was absolutely terrifying was called Haze Her.
Oh dear.
And I was being hazed into a college sorority, and they had like 30 extras in the room standing there watching me and the other two girls get yelled at and degraded and told to do embarrassing things before we got fucked with strap-ons
Oh wow.
by the other girls. So yeah.
So how much, this is one of my questions where I'm like, oh boy, I can't wait for this. How much of that can be paused to be like, okay, let's center ourselves and let's get back into character?
Oh, you can't
like,
do that.
Oh
like,
Jesus.
in that type of scenario.
So like
you
your
can do
anxiety, you got to
things now.
ride that.
Things are more professional now, but back in the day, it's like, nope, we're started, we're rolling, we got to go.
Oh Jesus.
Like nowadays, there's a lot more checks and balances and more respectful. Back in the day, they don't really care.
And I imagine without having established names, like who cares? You're just another
Yeah,
name.
you're a nobody, and
Yeah.
you're there, and you just have to do your fucking job, or you
Fuck.
don't get paid if you don't want to do it. We'll find somebody else.
And that's the dark shit. Like,
That's back in the day. It's a lot nicer now, and they care more about boundaries now
okay.
and consent and different things. But not
Ooh.
12 years ago, things were very different.
Wild West.
It was very much so the Wild
I
West.
think that was pre-Me Too.
Yep.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking A.
Back in the day, you had to worry about like pissing off bigger names, or like
Yeah.
if a bigger name wanted to just come up and start touching you if you were at an event or a party, you'd have to like bite your tongue. Oh, that's just how he is. Ha ha ha.
Mr.
Ron Jeremy.
Yeah.
He was one of the ones that was known for it, and I was
He's
fortunate.
doing life now, isn't he?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I think he had like 15 different people that pressed
Which
charges.
is a really low number considering
Well,
his
that's
resume.
how many press charges and had proof.
Yeah.
There were more allegations that couldn't go through. Those were the ones that had proof. But I was told very early on to avoid him at things
Okay.
and to be careful around him.
God. I'd imagine the pillow talk between y'all when the camera's not rolling. This has to be so enlightening. Like, stay away from this guy. Stay away from this guy. These guys are like,
Well, the thing is, like back in the day, you had to warn each other privately a
Yeah.
little bit more often. Nowadays, it's pretty well known if somebody sucks because people are very Me Too and very out there.
Yeah.
So you know
Social
a little
media
bit now.
definitely
Social
helps you
media
check.
makes it to where you can check balances with people now.
Yeah.
But back in the day, it was if somebody's nice enough, they'll warn you. And if they're not, then you're fucked.
Fucking A. What got you out? So you went down to Florida. How long were you recording down there?
Just 3 days. I did like
Oh,
3
wow.
short scenes, and then I was like, okay, cool. I made some quick money. I'm probably never going to do this again. And there's so much porn on the internet. Nobody's ever going to find out. That was my 19-year-old logic. I was like, I can shoot 3 videos. Nobody will ever know, especially because I'm very basic. Girl next door. You know, there's thousands of videos on the internet. My logic was, why would anybody find out, or how would anybody find out?
And how did somebody find out?
Well, people found out right away because one of the companies I shot for was the Bang Bus.
Pretty popular.
I was just a girl though. Like, I was the girl's friend who went with her on it, and me and her fool around a little, and then I'm basically the cuck in the corner sitting there while she gets fucked by the dude for the whole scene. It's just dumb stuff, but it got around to everybody in my hometown, and nobody would let me drop it or move on. And then one of my exes was a dick and told my cousin, who told my entire family.
Oh, fuck.
So I did 3 videos, and it got back to everyone. I was planning
At
on
the age of
never
19.
Yeah, and I was planning on never doing it again, but you know, people wouldn't let me move on with my life. Like, it was 6 months, 7 months later, and people were still giving me shit daily. So I was like, I might as well just continue to do it.
So how did that? So when you came back here, did you get back into serving? Like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
and then at some point you're just like, fuck, I got to go back into this.
I mean, I've had different jobs throughout the years, even while I was shooting. At one point when I was living in LA, when I first moved there, I was shooting porn, and I was working at Saddle Ranch on City Walk at
Uh-huh.
Universal Studios. I was doing both.
Oh shit,
And I was working for Tipsy Bartender as a tipsy girl.
dude.
Yeah. I'm one of the original tipsy girls from Tipsy Bartender on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah.
There's so many things I need to write down, but I haven't recorded. I'm gonna Google all of this stuff eventually. Wow. Okay, so leave Florida, come back to Colorado Springs, realize you got to get back into the industry.
I didn't have to, but I chose to.
Okay.
I was just not very happy with the fact that people wouldn't let me move on with my life. It's like, you're not going to let me drop it that I shot 3 videos, 3 sex tapes?
So where'd you go from there? Did you go to LA at that point? Like,
Oh, not yet. No,
Okay.
I was traveling back and forth and just shooting once in a while. I was like dipping my toes in. I moved to LA in 2015.
okay.
2015 to 2018, I lived there and I shot porn full time and also served and did YouTube stuff.
How frequent is the recording like schedule? Like when you are in LA, people know you're available. Like,
It depends. It's
Okay.
very hit or miss. Sometimes I shoot one video and I'm out there for 2 weeks, and sometimes I'm shooting the whole 2 weeks, like all 14 days.
everything just ice packed. Like,
Yeah, it's very up and down. But when I'm not shooting, if I'm out there, I still try to work and network and do other things
Uh-huh.
and make myself productive. Because if I'm going to be out of town, I want to make sure I'm doing something. So whether I'm shooting for studios or doing content trades, or whether I'm going to YouTube things, or whether I'm going to comedy things and doing stand up out there and open mics out there, I always stay busy.
okay.
Always.
So to put comedy and the adult industry like in a Venn diagram, you know the anxiety of getting up on stage, all that stuff.
Mhm.
When an offer comes in, hey, let's shoot some adult content. When you get in the car to go shoot, is it
Yeah.
a nervous kind of like stand-up comedy where it's like,
When
okay,
I was younger, but not anymore. Now it's just like, oh, time to go clock into my 9 to 5.
well, and that was the thing. Is it nervous on a performance level, like stand-up comedy? Is it, oh boy, I'm about to go to have great sex, and there's just gonna be a
I
camera
get very
involved,
in my
like-
head, and I think more about, okay, what position is going to look right? What angles? How do I position myself so I don't get back rolls or tummy rolls? Or how do I cover my tummy rolls, like in certain things, so
Okay.
I don't look like Jabba the Hutt? Just, my mind goes to that. I actually focus way more on my positioning and how I'm
Okay.
looking and other things other than the pleasure.
Okay, so that is a factor, but that's definitely back.
That goes into my head more. I care more about the performance.
Nice.
And most of the time I don't come for actual shoots. There's a few scenes where I have, but most of the time
Just going through the motions, huh?
I'm just edged, and then by the time I'm off work I have to go home and masturbate.
Okay, so you
edge
finish
all day.
Once you get back to the room.
I finish myself.
Okay. Because like there's a lot of behind the scenes like shoots where like, okay, they shot the big oh boy thing, but then back in the another room they're like legit having like real sex.
Oh no. When you're on studio sets, that's not how it is. If you're doing content trades and stuff, sure, but studio sets, it's no off camera touchy.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that a recent thing because of the movements?
It's because of liabilities
Yeah.
and also Me Too stuff, and also because it's not professional. And a lot of the time, like back in the day when people would be touchy with you and stuff, you have to think these people are here to do a job. And a lot of us, it's like we have partners and other things in our personal life. And it's like even if they consent to you doing things on camera, it's disrespectful to do things off camera if you have a partner.
Wow.
That's more of a pleasure thing, not a work thing at that point. If the camera's not rolling and if it's not for a paycheck and you're with somebody, you shouldn't be touching other people unless, it's part of your agreement that it's okay.
Yeah.
But
a lot of married people in the industry too.
Yeah, there are. There's a lot of hot wives and a lot of swingers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so weird. Like some of the big names that I know, like, oh shit, she's married and she's still like doing like crazy scenes. Like, wow, that's gotta be an interesting
but a lot of the
marriage.
times when you have partners like that, your partner also is somehow involved.
Yeah.
They're photographers, videographers, other talents, or they're cucks in their personal life, or they're swingers.
Yeah.
There's usually some form of negotiation and open consenting communication, which is great.
Yeah. Wow. Just unpacking all that. Okay. So you said you did 3 years in LA.
Mm-hmm.
Did you come back here? Like what's...
Yeah, I moved back here in 2018 to try to work on things with a prior partner. That obviously didn't work. And I got myself out of the industry besides doing like solo camming and solo OnlyFans stuff for a bit. That's all I was doing. And then I was back to serving. And I was serving at Basil and Barley, which is right here in the town. Yeah.
Haven't heard that one.
So it's a newer place. It opened in 2018 and I was one of the first employees.
Nice.
And it's authentic Italian pizza from Naples. And the original owner who sold it and his cooks, they were all from Naples, Italy, and studied on how to make pizza there.
Okay.
So it's authentic.
Is it a oven? Like shit.
They had like the wood oven and everything. But I worked there and I loved it. And then I ended up like getting back into shooting again. After that, didn't work with him. And then I had a partner who was okay with me shooting, or at least lied and said he was okay. He lied and said he was okay with it for about 2 years and then used it for the excuse of why it was okay for him to cheat on me even though we were engaged and raising our kids together. He's like, well, I allow you to fuck other people for a living. I allow you. Even though I was the one paying the majority of the bills and raising the kids.
Yeah.
And,
well, your allowance lets me pay the fucking bills.
Yeah.
It had to have been interesting.
Mm-hmm.
When you're working a place like that, at a pizza place, how often are you like, where do you look? I feel like I've seen you before. Like, does that a daily
Surprisingly,
occurrence?
I didn't get that much. I feel like if anybody recognized me there, they didn't say shit or they thought I was probably just a lookalike. I've noticed that when I'm in Los Angeles or if I'm in Vegas, people stop me all the time. And they're like, Nickey Huntsman, or are you Nickey? Can I get photos with you? In Colorado, whenever I go out or anything, most of the time people don't say shit. I'll get stares sometimes, but people don't say anything because I don't think they expect a porn star to be here. So they probably think I look like they probably think I look like me. They probably don't think I'm actually me. Once I had somebody come up to me and say, you look really familiar. Have you been on TV before? Which I have
been on the screen
been
before.
I mean, I've been in commercials and stuff too.
For who?
Perkins Motors. I was in their
sure.
commercial a couple years back, and I was also in a J Vapes commercial that used to air on Fox
Nice.
and stuff. I've done different things.
Is that nationwide for the Fox one?
No,
or?
these were all local things.
Okay.
J Vapes was a hookah place and a place that sold like vape pens and stuff here in the Springs. I don't know if they're still open. That was years ago.
That's bad.
But I was in a commercial for J Vapes for Perkins Motors locally. And I also did local infomercials for Spa Palace when I was a kid. I've been acting and modeling my whole life.
That's
So.
amazing. So it sounds like we're getting close to COVID. Where were you during COVID?
COVID was when I was with the douchebag that allowed me to do porn, who was also shooting with me for my OnlyFans. So his dick is on the internet forever because I got model releases and IDs. So thank you for letting me sell you for the rest of your life.
Fucking A.
His penis will always be for sale.
I was thinking about venturing out to OnlyFans for the podcast.
You should get on OFTV.
I think you have to have your shit together pretty well, like established before they even offer
No,
that to you.
OFTV you can make as soon as you make your OnlyFans account.
Oh,
you just
shit.
have to have a certain requirement for audio and video files, as long as it's like well lit and good recording like this, and as long as you have good sound, then technically you
The sound is
qualify.
the only thing I struggle with because I'm still
Oh,
using
I will
stage
say
mics,
though,
but-
you will have to make sure you have OnlyFans model releases for every
and
OFTV
that's what I was getting
thing.
at. Is I was thinking about doing that, but I was like, every single post is going to have
Things
everybody's
attached.
ID. Like, I don't know how many comedians are going to be okay with like, hey, can I take a picture of your driver's license? You with your driver's license?
Yeah,
like,
they either would have to do that or they'd have to create an OnlyFans account for you to tag them, because that
Yeah.
automatically attaches their releases.
I don't see comedians doing that. I can barely get them to show up on time, so let alone show me their IDs and shit. So it'll be interesting. Though I'll try to figure out how to get this out.
You should look into OFTV.
I'm really obviously because of the theme and everything. I do want stand-up comedians, but also want to start venturing into obviously sex sells, but like
There's a lot of adult workers in Colorado. So
Really?
yeah,
Sweet.
I'm one of the bigger names, but yeah, there's a lot of us here.
Well, send them my way. I would love to. I love hearing about the industry. Like I've been interested in the industry since like 2009. Pretty much like tapped into like.
That's the
all
year
that
I had
stuff,
my
so.
daughter.
Oh, nice. Yeah, for me, it was had a really bad relationship. My very first relationship, that was a sexual relationship, and she was already watching porn, and like I was already watching porn too. But like the way she introduced it, when she left, I'm like, oh my god, I'm alone. That hole that she left, packed that with porn. It's been pretty much there ever since. So
I'd have to say one of my favorite motivators for me shooting is whenever I have a breakup or anything, I'm like, I know this is going to pop up on his feed at some point and remind him of me for the rest of his life.
that was one of the things I was curious of, is how often do good friends, because we all jerk off, we all watch
Well, I've
porn.
been on the front page of Pornhub before, and I've been on ads and different things, and you have to think, I shoot for Brazzers, Naughty America. I shoot for some pretty big companies,
Yeah.
Mofos. Yeah.
You did. Well, you dropped
Milfy,
Tushy.
Tushy,
That
yeah.
was this year, right? Or
Yeah,
this summer.
that's actually my first Vixen scene, and I recently shot for Milfy. I don't know when it'll be released,
Okay.
but that's another Vixen company.
Yep.
So
Vixen is holy shit quality.
Yeah.
Like,
So I shot for Milfy, I shot for Tushy, and I'm hoping I get more Vixen shoots over time.
Yeah.
As long as things go well, I will. But I've shot for them, and back in the day, I got to go on Playboy Jukebox Live,
oh shit.
which was a podcast TV show thing on the Playboy channel.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done a lot of things, and I've been on Hustler. I've done a lot of different box cover movies for them, and I've shot for Biphoria, and I actually have a scene nominated for the Gayvians. I'm
Oh, shit.
excited.
Really?
Yeah,
When's that coming
bisexual. Well, it's during AVN, but the
Okay.
Gayvians, it's separated because the industry is weird. They segregate things a little bit. It's getting
Yeah.
better.
It might
but-
also be a marketability thing too. Is if you bring in the gay audience, like that could bring a lot of people.
Well, I've
with
been
that,
shooting
so.
gay and trans videos since it wasn't even cool back in 2014. It used to hurt my career because I was a crossover star, because I would
Yeah.
work with them and they were worried about high risk for, oh, well, she could catch AIDS from them.
Yeah.
And it was very discriminatory and segregated back in the day, and it's gotten better. It's not like that anymore, but I've been shooting it since it wasn't even cool to shoot bisexual threesomes and trans stuff. I've been pro LGBTQ my entire career.
One of these days, we get one of their flags in here too, just to show the support.
I love that.
Because you're actually my second adult star here. I actually had a trans cam star.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was a 5-hour record. Had to break that up into 4, but it was really cool. Not just hearing the stuff going on in the industry, but also with like the trans community and stuff. It sucks how dark some of that stuff is with like how teenagers and everything are like trafficked. It's like, Jesus Christ. Not only do you have all the darkness of like the adult industry that can happen, but you also have this wildly illegal and horrific thing going on, behind the scenes too. So, oi.
A lot of crazy stuff, unfortunately.
It sucks. Wow, we've pretty much covered all the adult stuff, I believe, right?
Unless you have more questions.
COVID. I think we're good on that. So, with the stand-up comedy, said, 2 or 3 years ago?
Last year, I think.
Was it last year?
Yeah,
okay.
2023, I believe. That's when I got mad at Polly, and that's when I started doing stuff.
And, yeah, so let's unpack that. Before that moment, you had an interest in stand-up comedy
as a kid.
Just as a consumer.
Yeah, more so watching.
Okay.
I went to my first in-person comedy show, though. Like, my first one was 2022.
Wow.
Yeah. I always watched it on TV and on Netflix and other things, but I'd never been to an in-person one. And my first one was at Looney's Comedy Corner.
Who was it? Or was it a local?
Pauly Shore.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. It was Pauly Shore.
Pauly Shore's been here? I'm trying to remember.
That was then.
Okay.
Yeah, that show, that weekend.
It is random, some of the faces that they bring in.
2022, but he was my
Shore.
first comedy show that I ever went to. And when I went to it, he was catcalling me from the stage because I was in the front row. And then
by the weasel.
Yeah, catcalled me. And like, he was one of my favorite comics and one of my favorite actors growing up. And I thought that was cool. And of course, we exchanged info and things happen. And he's the reason I got into comedy. He was the one that pissed me off. He's the one that ghosts me on and off.
Really? Pauly fucking Shore?
Yeah. Whoa. We're friends, and it goes in and out. Sometimes he's talking to me and telling me he misses me, and then other times I can't get a response. So, yeah, he's very up and down.
He does seem that way.
I absolutely adore him. He's a great person. I'm not saying anything bad, guys. And you know what? Him ghosting me is what got me into stand-up, because he was the one I was shit-talking on the stage. So...
I believe I saw somewhere that you take a lot of pride in being a consistent person. So
I try to be.
Yeah, I'd imagine having that juxtaposed with somebody you're interested in has really got to suck. Like,
yeah, especially when I'm sending you like 50 messages and not getting a reply.
So I see, and I think it was your Instagram, you've actually done the Comedy Store. Was that through Pauly?
No.
Or like, okay.
No. He knows that I did it, though, and he's very supportive, and he's actually really happy. And it was funny because when I was sending him open mics and stuff, and before I even got booked for any gigs and before I even got good, he was like, "You're funny," and he's like, "You should be a comedian." He would tell me that. And
from Pauly Shore.
I've heard that.
Jesus, dude.
He told me I should be a comedian just from us having normal conversations together. And he's told me I'm funny. So
if you're not familiar, if you're listening, Pauly Shore is not just like an 80s and 90s star. He is the child of literally probably
Mitzi Shore.
Yeah, Mitzi Shore, which is at the time the second biggest name in stand-up comedy, only to Johnny Carson. Like, Mitzi Shore is literally as big as it gets.
Also, Sammy Shore, his father, he used to open for Elvis.
Like, don't think the Shore name is just some bullshit from the 80s and 90s. It's legitimate huge connection there.
But yeah, no, Pauly...
It'd be great to have him as a friend.
He's wonderful, but yeah, no, he hasn't had anything to do with my comedy career other than giving me inspiration. Because he's inspired me by getting me upset. He's pissed me off and got me into going to mics. So that happened. He's told me I was funny, which is sweet. But no, everything else I've done on my own. I did the writing. I did the classes.
Yeah.
Pretty Funny Women, which is a comedy class and also a comedy group full of women. run by Lisa Sunstead, this one comedian that's been around since like the 80s. She's absolutely incredible, but she's
Is that here? Is that
LA?
LA? Okay.
But she's my comedy teacher and guru, and she's the one who got me booked for the Comedy Store, and she wants to book me for the La Jolla show next year, or La Jolla. I don't know how to pronounce it. La Jolla, La Jolla, I don't know. But the other Comedy Store out in California, she wants me to do that show too.
Nice. How many times have you done the Comedy Store?
Once so far, but it's just because I'm not in LA enough.
Okay. I'm trying to hear a Comedy Store. I'm trying to think if I've had anybody in the Comedy Store here on the podcast. I don't believe so.
I've only performed there once in the Belly Room. Other than that, I've been there for fun, to see shows and to drink.
At the time, did you realize the weight of the situation? Oh shit, this is the Comedy Store. Because some people, you knew you were going into
I knew.
hallowed ground, if you will.
I knew the weight of it, and also I wanted to do my best and make sure I did an incredible job, because I am friends with Polly, and because of the fact that we did bang, and I didn't want it to be a bomb. I wanted to do well.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to possibly get back to him that I sucked on their stage.
Yeah.
So I really practiced.
How big of a show was that? How many comics did we have? How much
I don't
time
remember
did you
the
do?
exact number of comics off the top of my head. I would have to look at the flyer. It was probably 8 to 10. I can't remember. But yeah, and
how much time did you do?
6.
6. Okay.
I'm a baby comic.
Yeah.
I'm a beginner.
But still, 6 at the fucking Comedy Store.
Yeah, in the Belly Room, and it was a sold out show, and I'm really happy because I have very supportive friends and fans and family out in LA. So our show, we had to push tickets. One of the things, if you're working Comedy Store, and also if you're working for Lisa and doing her performances as a Pretty Funny Woman girl, tickets matter.
Yeah.
You really, really have to drive the traffic. So I can't remember if it was 80 or 100 seats in that room, but we had a sold out show, and a huge portion of the crowd came just for me, even though there was 10 of us. I got 25 tickets sold.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
In that little room.
I would have expected more, just from how people know you. Oh shit, I have an opportunity to see Nickey.
I had fans and I had friends and stuff, but there were also a lot of people that waited to buy till day of, and I had 10 different people hit me up. They were like, hey, it's sold out, can you get me in? I've been telling you guys, and I've been promoting this for weeks.
Yeah.
I was promoting it for a month in advance, and I was promoting daily for a month. So I had 25 tickets sold that actually showed up and came. And then I had 10 people hitting me up day of asking me if I could get them in.
If you're going to a comedy show, book early.
Because sometimes it doesn't say low tickets are sold out until last minute, because everybody buys last minute.
There's also the flip side of it is, if a week out there's not enough tickets sold, we're just going to cancel your show. So legit,
messes everything up.
Yeah. I've had that twice when I was doing essentially bringer shows. Had to bring 8 to 10 people. Nobody would be like, hey, hit me up. And then literally the day before, hey, that comedy show you got tomorrow. Dude, they pulled me out of that show last week. Thanks, but
yeah, for our bringer show, she only needed us to bring, I think, 10 people each, and I brought 25. So I brought a good chunk of them. I did good. But yeah, I was in the Belly Room. I'm not a huge fan of them because it stresses you out. But in LA, I have supportive people. So I've actually done well with all of my bringer shows so far out there. If I did that here, I don't think I'd get anybody. Or if I did, it'd be 2 people. Colorado Springs, it's not as supportive for me.
2025, I'm going to try to do a comedy show, and we'll bring it. We'll fill a venue. I'm already looking at myself personally. So I think I've maybe done 3 open mics this entire year.
Okay, so you're like me. I barely go to mics because I don't have the time or the energy half the time.
I wake up at 4:45 in the morning for work and everything, for working out and all that
I
bullshit.
feel you. I usually wake up at 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So I got to
the idea of going to a mic at 9 o'clock at night, not happening. So that's why I'm focused primarily on the stand-up comedy. But I would love to have a presence on the scene, and I definitely want to do a show sometime next year. So
you should.
We'll fill a room if you want to be on board with it. So.
I'd love to try to help, but I can't make any promises because, like I said, Colorado Springs is Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
But my bringer shows that I've done in LA, top tier, those went well.
Nice. What I hate with bringer shows is if you're trying to do them consistently, you start alienating the people that actually do show up. is like, hey, I invited 50 people, but only 10 of them showed up. Ooh, that's my laptop.
Oh, that's not good.
I'm only bringing 5 people there. Well, when I have another bringer show showing up, oh shit, I'm going to just bug those people. Hopefully I didn't just fry my fucking laptop.
Hopefully.
That'd be fucking fantastic. I do have something to wipe that down with.
Also, if I were you, I'd keep it tilted the other way so it doesn't go in. Like, yeah.
Oh my God, we're panicking.
Do you have rice?
I will.
I was going to say if you have a big bag of rice, that
That's
might
all
be
good.
Stick it in the bag.
So have you worked comedy in L.A., worked comedy here?
And that's it so far.
So far.
So far, that's it. I will say at one point, though, Side Splitters out in Tampa messaged me and asked me to be a part of one of their comedy shows because they thought I was a local because I went to a friend's show out there when I was out there for work once.
Okay.
I went and saw Chrissy Mayer. But then when they messaged me about it, they were like, we would love to have you a part of it. And then I found out they just wanted me to dominate the comics and embarrass them on stage. It was a fetish type show that they were doing. They didn't even want me to do stand up. I'm like, oh, so you're basically just going to stereotype me into my sex work side, even though I'm a comedian, and just automatically try to put me in a category and try to bring me out there for that. That kind of bummed me out.
See, I wanted to make sure that you had fun out here. So I didn't want to solely focus on just the adult work. I'm interested in it, but like I don't want that.
But that's not just me.
Yeah.
Like, it's part of me. I love adult work. I have no shame. I'm down to talk about it and I'm down to do stuff. But I hate it when people put me in that box.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you're a sex worker. That's all you are.
Yeah, and I was really worried how to actually walk this line as fine as I could.
I appreciate you for taking it into consideration.
Absolutely.
Is your laptop alive?
It is alive. What I'm doing is turning it off right now and drying it out. Fortunately, everything goes through the ATEM, so...
Okay.
Literally, my laptop could die, and we'll be all right. But we don't have any sound audio, any more sound drops. So, when it comes to the podcast, what inspired that? Like, were you watching specific podcasts? Like, ooh, that's another layer.
I like to watch Tiger Belly.
I love
do
Andrew
like
Santino.
Tiger Belly. Yeah, Andrew Santino's great. I also like the Bad Friends podcast, but I was watching those too.
That's right. There's Bad Friends, and you have okay, here we go.
I like Tiger Belly. I like Bad Friends. I like Bobby Lee. I think he's hilarious.
He said at one point he quoted your stuff, didn't he, Bobby Lee?
He quoted it. He didn't say my name or anything, but he did make sure to mention the whole Disneyland dick and stuff. He was talking about the Polly stand-up, my really shitty open mics that I submitted to Polly. So I think he showed his friends probably to be like, this crazy bitch. Or look how funny this is. I don't know. I don't know if he thought it was funny or if he was just showing it and being like, she's crazy. I don't know. He's still friends with me, so obviously Polly doesn't hate me for it. And he showed it to Bobby, so I'll take that as a compliment. But
that's badass.
I heard Bobby Lee making remarks about Pauly Shore's Disneyland dick and about Splash Mountain, and so I'm like, oh, he saw my stand-up or heard about it. One of the two.
That is
he either
fantastic.
saw it or he heard about it. I don't know which.
I think I would absolutely lose my shit, though, if a podcast I was listening to, like, and respected, all of a sudden, like, dropped one of my lines, like, oh, my God. Like, they didn't mention me specifically, but they at least know who the fuck I am.
He knows I exist.
Yeah. That'd be wild.
I thought that was cool. I love Bobby Lee.
So you're watching those two as a consumer. Like, what got you to go, okay, I'm going to...
I thought about starting a podcast because I was like, well, this is something locally that I could do that would drive more traffic to all of my other stuff, which is nice. And it's something PG that I can post because I'm constantly getting flagged for breaking guidelines, even when I'm not doing things that are that bad. And I'm very shadow banned. So I was trying to think of G-rated things I could do just to expand my brand and keep my engagement up and my analytics without destroying me.
Has the podcast burned you yet on that?
No.
Okay.
No. And even if we say anything inappropriate and stuff, like, we're fully clothed, we're not touching, like, I feel like it's
I know the audio
that should be
algorithm is fucking annoying. So I've been posting twice a day since like September, so almost 4 months.
Yeah.
There's some videos that have 0 views, 0 anything because of specific words.
Oh.
So
I will have to work on that and make sure I don't have that issue. It's annoying as fuck
because it's not just profanity. Thad B was on 2 weeks ago. He was on a hot air balloon ride, and he mentioned that he had some heavy set people in the fucking basket.
Oh.
He was fat shaming, which fucking got the algorithm to zero out everything. Like, what the fuck, man?
Good to keep an eye on stuff then. I will make sure I'm careful, and I'll make sure guests know to be careful with what they say then. But so far it's been beneficial, and I'm starting to get my hours back up on my YouTube, which was basically dead because I hadn't posted in forever. I used to be monetized, but they made it to where if you're not posting within 6 months, they demonetize you or whatever.
6 months, wow.
Yeah. So if you're not keeping your channel active, they demonetize. So they demonetized me a while back, so I need to get it remonetized.
What was the content that got you up to that point?
Well, back in the day, they weren't as strict, you know, and I used to do like naked vlogs on porn sets.
Really?
But I didn't show anything. It was shoulders and up.
Okay.
I did that, and I had other things. I had a lot of stuff that I had to take down. Just from inappropriate titles and like clickbaity stuff that I had. But I took down all of my shit, and I got discouraged on posting to YouTube for a long time.
It's
and
tough with YouTube.
I was like, everything's so strict, and I'm wild, and I'm crazy. So I quit posting there. I let my channel die, and now I'm trying to revive it. And so far, I just have to get my hours back up because I already have enough subscribers. So I just got to get the watch time back up.
It's so hard with long form.
I mean, my long form's doing okay though, because you only have to have 4,000 views, 4,000 hours within a year. And I just started posting again. I think.
What's the number you have? This is probably gonna hurt.
I'm close to 600 hours.
God damn it.
I just started posting again.
My last 365, I just broke 100 hours.
Yeah, so I'm close to 600, and I just started posting again like a month or two ago. I've posted like 6 new videos, and I'm almost to where I need to be.
God.
So if I start posting some other stuff too, I might start vlogging and other things just to try to get it back up quicker.
It's good too. You have a professional that's actually helping out too. All right, cool. Let's record here. You take care of that.
Yep.
I'll think of the next thing we
He's
can record.
helping me out, and I told him, I'm like, when I get monetized and when I'm actually making more, I'm gonna pay him a higher rate. And eventually, if it takes off enough, I would love it if we could both like have it be a full-time thing.
That would be badass.
So
I would love to do that.
But I was just thinking of a local like thing that I could do to push all of my other things, my other socials that are inappropriate, you know, just drive traffic. Drive traffic to the OF and to the hub and to everything else that's making me money by posting regularly again and posting somewhere where I'm not shadow banned. YouTube doesn't do that to me, whereas Instagram and Twitter and other places do. So since my stats and my analytics are really, really bad because I'm shadow banned everywhere, like really, really bad, I'm trying to get my YouTube channel going to drive traffic. So that was my idea for the podcast.
So the best way to support you would probably be
subscribe to me on my other things, my paid platforms, or message me. Like,
so not just OnlyFans, but the other things that are in like your link tree.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's the best way to do it because I'm not monetized on YouTube at the moment, and I'm shadow banned on Instagram and Twitter, and they fuck with me a lot. So
it's the worst.
It makes it so hard to get anything done and to drive traffic to my stuff. And I've had followers that have been following me for a long time. There's been a few times where people comment on a photo I post or a reel, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're alive. I haven't seen you post in months." And I post daily, but it's not showing up in their feed or in their algorithm.
That sucks.
And I have 500,000 followers on my Instagram, but if you look at my stats and my analytics, my reach is 400,000. Yeah, and then my reach is actually better if you go to like my Come and Giggle podcast Instagram that's not shadow banned yet. That has 200,000. It has 200 followers. That my main one is shadow banned.
Getting stuff.
When you're an adult film star,
yeah.
The thing is, we get shadow banned and we have restrictions put on us, and I'm pretty sure there's a metaverse mafia because of the
100%.
fact that I know so many different adult film stars that are paying to have their stuff unshadow banned and make sure they don't get deleted. They pay $3,000 a month, and it works.
Shit.
And I have the info and I'm debating it, but I'm like, God, $3,000 a month just so that I'm not
That's a
shadow
mortgage
banned.
payment. Like,
yeah, but if you're able to have the reach in your algorithm and the engagement, and if you're actually able to promote your stuff and drive traffic to your paid things where you actually make your money. So I'm debating paying the $3,000 a month to the Metaverse Mafia. I'm not going to say names, but
did you see Donald Trump's actually thinking about getting into social media and trying to make it where there's no involvement between the government and like what can go on social media.
Yes,
I'm
I love
curious
that.
if the algorithm's also going to be like touched, where it's bullshit that you guys
I think it's
play
great that he's
inside
trying to get
lines.
rid of the censorship. I'm
Yeah.
happy he's trying to get rid of the censorship. If
Yeah.
we're not censored as much, it would make it a lot better for
Yeah.
us.
I feel
I
like
like
you're
Trump.
reasonable people. You know that, okay, I'm on YouTube. Obviously, this is PG-13.
Mhm.
I'll stay inside of PG-13. Okay, here's Instagram. These guys are like PG. I feel like y'all are smart enough because you wanted to make the money. You're not
Yeah.
going to be putting your X-rated shit on Instagram. But
And
because
with Donald
it's
Trump, he
related,
just wants to get rid of censorship on like freedom of speech.
Yeah.
I don't think he wants to get rid of like nudity censorship.
yeah, I'm curious if
It's
that's going to be able to
just-
affect y'all in a positive way.
I hope so.
So-
I really hope so. That would
Yeah.
be great. But yeah, I'm debating paying the $3,000 a month so that my shit won't be stunted
Yeah.
because I've been stuck in the 400,000 follower range for a while now.
God, I
And
would kill for those.
yeah, but when those 400,000 people aren't even seeing your posts half
Yeah.
the time, and when you're getting maybe 1,000 likes, when you should be getting 4, 5, 10,000
Yeah.
likes, I'm not getting the engagement.
It's
My
a
analytics are
bullshit.
fucked. And I put in so much time and effort into my socials, and it's really heart-wrenching when you put in so much time and effort. And when being shadow banned and having all of your things taken away, it made it to where I can't even be added as a collaborator right now and like post things on my main account.
Really?
Yeah, like Luso and I found that out when we were collabing a couple weeks ago because we were going to use her reach with my big following to help each other out.
Yeah.
And we were doing that for a little bit. And then we found out, oh, we can't even collaborate anymore.
That's horseshit.
So, yeah, Instagram's really fucking me over. And that's why I'm trying to work on my YouTube stuff
That
because
sucks 'cause-
YouTube's nicer to me.
Which is funny because when it comes to shorts, YouTube's not nice to me.
I haven't worked with shorts as much. I need to do that more.
I could show you how to make it really easy.
I would love
Literally
that.
20 to 30 minutes a day or a week. You're good for like your whole week. So like the podcast we're about to like wrap up here, it'll take me 30 minutes and I'm good to go for the whole week. So
Oh, that's fantastic.
one of the things I was thinking though is when it comes to posting to Instagram, I do my collabs with everybody. That sucks that.
Yeah, I
Yours is
usually
gonna
collab
be-
on things,
Mm.
and I can't even do that on my main anymore. And
Wow.
once I pay the 2,000, 3,000, whatever it is per month to whoever, I'll be able to do stuff again because they can take all that stuff off from behind the scenes.
That's so weird that that's available. It seems
It should be
shady as
illegal.
fuck, though.
It should be illegal.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can pay $3,000 a month to have your
Literally
stuff
pay to play.
unshadow banned and to have it to where you can actually have stuff seen in the algorithm and to where you can collaborate and stuff. I have to pay to get things taken off my account when I didn't even do much to break the rules. If you look at my account, it's not as bad as half the shit on Instagram.
That's the
But
thing
I'm
I
still
love
shadow
about it.
banned just for existing.
Fucking horseshit.
Yeah.
We're getting past that hour mark there. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can ask you. You said you had your comedy show coming up December 15th, La Burleby. How often are you trying to get onto the comedy scene with like open mics or shows or like what have you?
So it's complicated because before I got the second teenager, when I just had one,
Mm.
I was trying to go out a few days a week and I was trying to hit mics and I was trying to do more shows. And then I got the second teenager and now I'm trying to supervise 2 teenage girls and trying to make sure that they're not partying, doing drugs, drinking, getting pregnant.
Encourage them
fun
to do
stuff.
stand-up comedy. You guys can carpool to the open mics.
I don't even know if they'd be allowed in since they're young, they're minors.
Oh, just put the X's on their hands and fucking get over.
I don't know, but it's one of those things where it's just
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm trying to juggle that. I still go to open mics when I can, and I'm trying to do shows here and there when I can, but I'm not doing it as often as I would like.
Who's your comedy inspiration? Let's dig a little bit further into stand-up comedy. For me, I try to do like a blend of like Bill Engvall, Christopher Titus, like family stuff, but also have like a bit of an edge to it. Like, do you have comedians that you try to?
I don't try to emulate anybody,
No.
but I will say that if I had to pick a couple of female comics that I look up to and I feel like I have somewhat similar vibes to, Taylor Tomlinson.
Ooh.
I feel like I have a similar vibe to her because it's kind of inappropriate mixed with appropriate, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And I also really like her fashion sense, and I've been trying to wear like cute little suits. I wear pantsuits and stuff. I dress up. I don't go sloppy when I'm actually doing
Yeah.
a performance. Open mics, I wear whatever.
Yeah.
But when it comes to actual shows, I go like full pantsuit. I dress like Taylor Tomlinson.
She kills it on her Netflix.
She's so
stuff. Oh my
gorgeous.
God. Yeah. And then you said there was a second name that it would possibly be.
Also like Whitney Cummings.
Okay.
I like to look up to her stuff too, but I throw in a little bit of stuff about my personal life, about being a mom, about
Yeah.
porn. Some of it's sexual, some of it's G-rated. I try to keep it semi-clean. And then some of my more inappropriate jokes, like that I don't always use, like my Swallocost jokes.
Holocaust. Wow.
Yeah, I came up with that, and I have different like Jew jokes because I date a lot of Jews. I'm more of a dreidel robber than a cradle robber.
All right, comedians coming out now.
Yeah.
That's great.
I do a lot of Jew jokes because I'd like to date Jews and I like to fuck Jews.
Wow.
Yeah.
Has there been any limitations in your stand-up? I wouldn't think there would be, but like you're a porn star, you can't do this show.
I have not had that happen yet. I'm
Okay.
sure it could happen at some point though.
Has that happened anywhere else where you're like, oh, you're not invited to the PTA meeting or like?
Not like that, but yeah, I've been told because I'm a porn star, I can't have certain job opportunities or other things.
Oh,
and
wow.
I've had it affect me in some different situations in my life.
That's
It's
gotta be
becoming
rough.
less of an issue though. I feel like people are becoming more open as the years go on.
Yeah.
It used to be more when I was younger, when it was a huge issue and where people would discriminate.
That's fucking awful.
It was like two different sides of the spectrum. People would either discriminate or they'd run with it and kind of use me for it,
Mhm.
for clout. Like I had a lot of YouTuber friends that would put me in their vlogs and things and then like use it as clickbait, like, oh, my roommate's a porn star, like in the title and just stuff like that. Or we're making the porn star martini today with a porn star. So my YouTuber friends would use that for the clickbait and to drive traffic back when strikes weren't as strict and when
Boy, they fucking
it was
are now.
easy. But back in the day, I got used for being a porn star and it's a fine line. I would either have people using me as clout for it or I'd have people telling me I couldn't do things because of it. So it was one spectrum or the other a lot back in the day, and it's becoming less and less. It's more of a people are cool now.
Yeah. Like I said, it feels the further we get, in the calendars and all that stuff, the
Porn
more
is
years.
becoming more mainstream,
Yeah.
and people are more laid back.
I think the accessibility of your OnlyFans and
Mhm.
social media in general, it's like just normal people and publicizing the stuff that we all enjoy.
And people are seeing that there's more to me than just porn too,
Yeah.
because they see the YouTube stuff from other people's channels and from mine, and then they hear me go and do podcasts and interviews, and people get an in-depth look at me as a person, and then
Yeah.
they realize, oh, she's a human, she's not just a sexual object.
Good times. Trying to think, do you have anything else? I know we're getting past the hour here, so yeah.
Well, you're good as long as it's within 2 hours.
That's
I
right.
just don't want to do a 5-hour
Well, I
episode.
feel like we've hit pretty much everything, dude. There's a couple. Actually, let's try this real quick. I had a couple things before my fucking laptop took a shit here. Remember that in the top right corner is what we're actually recording. I'm going
Okay.
to show some faces. 100% this is not being on there.
Okay.
God damn it. There we go.
Oh, I love Owen Gray.
There you go. So I
I've
have
shot
a
with
friend.
him.
I know. That's why I asked. I have a friend. We unfortunately were dating, but it fell out and everything. And she got me into Owen Gray. I was like, I have to ask if it's that damn good because
Yeah, he's good.
He's that good, huh?
Yeah, he's one of the few porn stars that's actually made me come.
Damn.
He's really good, and he's got a great personality, and
He
he's
seems
really
chill
sweet.
as fuck.
He's a nice person. Him and Tommy Pistol.
Okay.
Yeah, and Ryan Driller, like those top three, they're ones that actually made me orgasm in scenes. Most of the
With
time, I
Owen,
don't.
it seems like by the time you get your pants off, it's already like starting to peak. That dude, whatever wherever he learned that, I wish he would publicize. He is a fucking killer.
He's incredible.
Absolutely amazing. And the other name,
J-Mac. He's
Yes.
cool.
he seems chill as fuck too.
He's really nice. He did
He's
not make me
fucked-
come, but he's cool.
He has fucked every single porn site I've ever searched. Like, wow, she's hot. Let me see what else is out there. Like, god
Yeah.
damn, there's J Mac every fucking time. Like,
Well, when you're good at performing and you're local to the area, they tend to
Yeah.
use the same people over and
is he
over
in
again.
Florida or is he up in LA?
I think LA, but I could be wrong. He might be Vegas. I don't remember. I've shot with him once or twice, but I haven't shot a million scenes with him. I don't remember even where I shot with him. I just remember I shot with him.
Yeah, I was just like,
I know that's bad, but I'm like, I don't even remember where we shot.
well, it just seems because you have 3 hubs basically: LA, Florida, and I guess Vegas would be.
And
Drawn
then
there.
there's also adult videos shot in Texas and Arizona, believe it or
Okay.
not, and also Portland.
Okay.
I've shot all over the place. I
Just get
travel
those
for work a
flyers
lot.
Going, flyer miles. Going
I'm a
like crazy.
frequent flyer.
Hell yeah. Start shooting on planes. That'd be a fantastic idea. Fuck. I had so many fucking questions. How's your
Ask
day
away.
going?
I'm better now.
Which is worse, a bad shoot or a bad open mic?
I'd have to say it depends on what type of shoot,
Okay.
because I've had days where I've done hardcore like gangbangs and double anal,
Mhm.
and those days can be really rough. But a bad open mic is like soul crushing.
And that's why you I respect you as a comic when you say like, oh hey, like yes, open mics are soul crushing, yet I still want to do it because whatever motivation.
I mean,
Like-
I get that great feeling when I make people laugh. You know
Yeah.
the feeling when you have people laughing on stage. It's fun, and it's actually worth the self-torture.
And it can be self-torture so
Yeah.
bad.
Especially when you have writer's block and you're trying to come up with new stuff.
Yeah. And that's what I've been in a writer's block for nearly 3 years. Every so often I'll get on stage and be like, all right, let me use my old stuff and maybe that will like break the ice in my head.
Yeah.
I've yet to do it. And that's why I've been doing fucking podcasts for 4 years now. You're talking about gangbangs, double anal, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Alluding back to one of my first questions is when you find out you're doing stuff like double anal, like how intense are those emotions? Like, fuck, like this is going to hurt.
Well, the thing is, I don't just find out on set ahead of time.
Well,
My-
yeah, 100%.
Well, my agent will message me and he'll be like, hey, this company wants you for this type of shoot. Do you want to do it? Are you okay with it? These are the performers you would be working with. Are you okay with working with them? What rate do you want? And then see if the rate's within their budget and if they're willing to do it or not. Like, there's a lot of communication and steps that go into it.
100%.
And then you prepare yourself from there if you want to do it.
So
You
if
just-
it is the intense stuff, doing, like I said, DP, double anal, all that stuff,
I've only done double anal once, never again.
never again. Okay, that's what I
Never
get.
again.
When you show up to that location, is it like, oh God, I need to stretch up, warm up,
You
all this good
practice
stuff?
ahead of time. You stretch. You warm up. Like there's
So the
anal
anxiety is
training
towards
kits.
that. Anxiety is like, okay, this. If I do this incorrectly, this is going to hurt. Like that's
Not
where the
only is it
anxiety's
going to
at.
hurt, but when it's anal, you also have to prepare by starving yourself and
Yeah.
using Imodium. Otherwise, you can have a messy scene. And yeah,
Has that happened for you?
slightly, but I've never had super bad mess. I've heard
Uh-huh.
of scenes where like diarrhea shot out of a girl, like everywhere, and covered things during her anal
Did they
scene.
just change the genre? Like, all right, now we're going into scat instead. Like,
Oh no,
we can work with
no.
this. We can work with this.
No, when scenes happen, like when they have stuff like that, if it's like too messy, sometimes they'll just call it a day and be like, yeah, we're
Yeah.
not shooting this and nobody's getting paid. Pay loss for
We're not
everybody.
doing 2 girls, 1 cup here. That's
Yeah.
Wow, I've literally asked everything. Damn. Alrighty. Like I said, if you have friends in the local area that want to do the podcast here, 100% like down to shoot. Like I want to know more about the industry. Maybe I won't stutter through 3 intros and all that good shit.
I would love to introduce you to some people. I have a lot of people locally that would probably want to come on, like
Dude.
Avalon Mira, Mars Fox. Let's see, there's Layla, there's Axel, there's all kinds of people. Lena Axel. I'm trying to think. I have a
That's
huge
awesome.
list. There's also Jackie Valentine. She's Denver based. Sabrina Batty Bina. She's also Denver based. I know a lot of people.
Like I said, they don't have to do stand up. They don't have to do just like
Yeah.
whoever wants to show up to the podcast. Like I'm so curious on everything. So, alrighty, let's wrap this thing up.
Perfect.
Again, with your podcast, the come and go.
Come and Giggle.
Is that what inspired that? Was come and go?
The spelling?
Yeah.
The spelling, KUMES. Because I was sitting outside of a Come and Go getting my Red Bull for the morning. And at that time, I had been thinking like podcast names for a bit. I'm like, what am I going to name it? And I had a huge list. And then I was like, I like Come and Giggle. And I was like, I could spell it like Come and Go so it doesn't get flagged.
I'm surprised you didn't try to rip off some of their logo there, because they're at a they changed names, didn't they?
I know that they sold to Maverick, I
Okay.
think. But no, I didn't want to
Parody
steal
it.
the logo too much. I didn't want it to be too similar, but I did get the KUM from them, from
Okay.
Come and Go, because I was sitting outside of Come and Go and I was going over my list of baby names for my podcast baby name list.
I do miss seeing that logo, because I used to laugh every time.
I used to giggle too, and I remember one of the first times one of my friends from California visited me in Colorado, Lisa.
The fuck is that?
She came out and she was like, I have to get a picture with the gas station sign. So here we are, like, posing in front of the gas station sign because she had never seen a Come and Go before, and we were both laughing about it.
I had a buddy used to call it the ejaculate and evacuate. That's a good one. So the podcast, the Come and Giggle podcast, definitely like and subscribe that on YouTube as well, right?
Yes, and
Okay.
it's on Spotify. I need to upload
Nice.
some more of the episodes there because I'm a little behind on uploading to my Spotify. But
Spotify is difficult.
Spotify, I think I have like the first 3 or 4 episodes up.
Okay.
I just have to upload a few more audio files.
I think I have 3 or 4 episodes out of 75. Like, I really don't fuck with Spotify that much.
It's
so.
that bad?
The way that I approached it, it's difficult, and I lost my access to my account. So,
Oh.
yeah, I'm a little dumb on that one. That, and it's also, I like to make it a video podcast. I'm not trying to do audio only, so
That makes sense. But they also let you do video and audio.
I might have to look at them again.
Yeah, you can post your video on it too.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
have a video section.
I don't remember seeing that 2 or 3 years ago, so it might be
Okay.
something that's changed.
Well, they
so.
have that now. You can do just audio, you can do just the video one, or you can do both. You
Oh,
can
I'm gonna
upload
do
both.
motherfuckers.
You can double team it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And then Nickey Huntsman, all one word. And Nickey spelled Nickey. I personally have fucked that up numerous times in the last week.
So I've been spelling it that way since I was a kid. So my middle name's Nicole, and when I was little, I started going by Nickey after I saw Little Nicky with Adam Sandler.
Nice.
And then when I came up with my spelling for it, when social media was brand new and I used to be on Gaia Online and MySpace, I spelled it like Mickey Mouse to make it stand out. And I was the only one who spelled Nickey like that online for a very long time. And now there's others that do. But I was the first Nickey on the internet for a very long time. But I spelled it like Nickey. Huntsman.
Just keep hitting with the Huntsman. And then again, your show on December 15th, the Tits and Giggles at La Burleby.
Yeah, it's a topless comedy show.
Oh, now
We're
you
going to be
have
wearing
me.
pasties, and it's going to be all Christmassy, and Macy and I are going to be wearing like little elf ears and costumes.
That's going to be bad.
So,
ass.
I'm going to be dressed as a sexy elf with my titties out telling jokes.
So come on down.
Yeah, come down. And if you see me, feel free to get a picture with me and say hi.
It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I'll see you guys next week. I have no idea who my next guest is, but awesome. Like, share, subscribe, all that good shit. Love
Bye,
you.
guys.
Bye.